Welcome to Ellison Legals in case you missed it. We are now in December, so we will go over November's posts. Our disclosures are Ellison Legal has limited liability under a scheme approved by the Professional Standards legislation, and this video is not intended to give you legal advice, so please don't take it as legal advice. If you do need advice, please speak with your practitioner and get advice that is tailored to your specific situation. Now, just looking at November, it was a month of property and we spoke about the purchase of land. There were 4 posts. So the first one was about what to do prior to entering into a contract. When you have found a property that you like, get the contract and hand it over to your property practitioner to review. So that was the first thing, is to have the contract reviewed. Your property practitioner should go through that, explain a few things to you, but also go to the other side and see if there's any changes that need to be made. If you hand that over with quite a bit of time prior to, I would suggest not the day before or even 2 days before auction. That's leaving it far too late for the 2 practitioners to correspond with one another and agree to changing any terms that need to be changed. The second point on that post that week was have financial pre-approval. So the last thing that you want to do is to go into auction and you don't even know if you have approval. So make sure that you do have that. And the third thing that we mentioned was at auction is to be aware that there is no cooling off period, and this includes even if the property passes in and you get that property later that day, there is no cooling off period. The second post we spoke about deposits. Now typically deposits are 10%, but sometimes a purchaser is going to ask for 5%. Now there's different reasons why a purchaser will ask for 5% and there's different reasons why a vendor will say yes or no. But either way, it's important to know that if you place 5% deposit and the contract falls through, you may not be, but you may be liable to pay the remaining 5%, so the full 10% under the contract. The third post was about property searches. So if you're going to purchase, say, a nice home or something like that, you really want to do a pest and building inspection report. If you're going to buy an apartment, you can go and get yourself a strata report. Get your property practitioner to do this is probably the easiest way, but they're the main reports to get. There are other reports as well. Getting a survey can be incredibly useful, and I would say that they're very much underutilised. And there's also title insurance. Now sometimes people don't want to get any reports at all, which is taking really big risks, especially for such a large investment. But title insurance will cover for the entire time of ownership, but be careful on exactly what it is that you're getting. Make sure you understand what it is that you're paying for as well. So that's something else that I would suggest also getting, is title insurance. The fourth post was about getting ready for settlement. Now the first thing I say to my clients is please be phone ready, because there can be changes last minute and we need to get your instructions at the very last minute. As ready as anyone can be, things can change. But what we do in terms of getting ready for settlement is we go through figures, we find out, for example, what council rates have been paid, what water rates have been paid, even if it's a unit, what strata levies have been paid, what hasn't been paid. And we work out, does the vendor need to pay anything more and then get anything reimbursed? So who owes what? That's what's called the settlement adjustment sheet. There are other things that need to be considered in a settlement adjustment sheet. That's part of it. Then there are also documents that need to be prepared, one of which is the transfer form. So that's how we get ready for settlement. It sounds quite simple, but there is a lot involved. And then when settlement happens, what's going on there is that the purchaser is handing over the funds and the vendor is handing over the title. And what I will say is there are no more certificates of title on paper. Everything is now electronic. I promise you it does work. So if you do have one sitting at home, you can go frame it, laminate it, do whatever you like with it. But that is what settlement is, and that is purchasing property. So that was our month of November. I will return back next year going over December's posts. I'm Nicole Agabi. Thank you for joining me.